Hey guys, and welcome back to another video. Today we are going to be reading Black Clover chapter 333. Let's just get right into it. The last thing we saw was not Julius showing up in front of Asta, so this should be an interesting experience to say the least. I gave it a lot of thought, and the greatest devil host potential in the history of our family, an exceptional being born with two souls in one body. Who were we? What were we meant to accomplish? We bound a supreme devil Astaroth of time magic to ourselves in an attempt to learn the answer. Okay. Oh, and this is titled World Savior and Its Flaw. So I'm willing to believe here, I'm just from the first page, and we'll continue on in a second, but I'm willing to believe that maybe Julius is actually just like an altar, and it's like, oh, both him and one of the I don't remember his name, but I have a feeling the good and the bad are both equally real people, and it's not just, oh, he was hiding. All right, let's just okay. I've seen it, Julius. The future. True peace for the world. Lucius, that's his name. Lucius, that isn't. Yes, I foresaw you tried to stop me as well. It's a shame. No one's ever been closer to me than you, and yet you don't understand. What do you plan to do, Lucius? It's all right, Julius. I've seen it all. We'll be able to bring peace to the world. Okay, you know what? I'm actually all right with this. I thought it was like this opens a door for Julius to maybe come back. And honestly, this is kind of weird because this is kind of like the licked situation, or the not licked with oh god, the Golden Suns captain, where it's like, oh, he had an elf in him, but then also this is kind of similar to that. So I wonder if there's any connections between that. Oh, and now he's here. Huh? The Wizard King? Wizard King? No, you're not him. Who are you? Oh, no. Oh, no. Uh-oh. He froze all of time. Oh, at least around, the big castle that they're in. But I bet Asta... Yeah, okay. So this is anti-magic. The power that flies in the fact of natural law. Huh? The time stopped for everybody but us? That's the Wizard King's magic. But this spell is huge. Because I've absorbed Lucifero, yes. This key, it's his. What is this? You're Julius, but you're not. You're human, but you're not. Who are you? What have you done with the Wizard King? I am Lucius Zogratis, savior of the world. Julius is dead. I bet he's not dead. I bet I bet that personality comes back. The Wizard King is dead? He'd completed his mission in the service of our ideal. For the sake of true peace, a peace without sadness or hatred, war or discrimination. True peace. Will repair all humans. My siblings and I will destroy them, then use our magic to recreate them. We'll make them into fortunate people who are equal in every respect. Then, to prevent any further mistakes, I will rule over everything as the final Wizard King. What are you talking about? It's fine. Everything is as I foresaw, except for one thing. You. By all rights, no living thing should ever be born without magic. You are the world's flaw. For the sake of a just future, flaws must be eliminated. Oh, yeah, sure, I see. Oh, he's like, oh, yeah, no, sure. Yeah, I get it. Wait, who the heck are you calling a flaw, you jerk? In other words, you're a bad guy who's hijacked the Wizard King's body. Destroy all humans. Don't be ridiculous. The Wizard King put his life on the line to save everybody. That's the Wizard King I looked up to. Everyone did. And so there's no way he'd die that easily. I'm going to stop you and save him. Man, I'm stronger than Julius, you know. In that case, he's like ripping apart the time bubble. Huh? What? Right here, right now, I'll surpass the Wizard King. Okay, I gotta say, I'm pretty hyped. Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. This is a weird chapter. It's so quiet. There's no action. It's just all talking, but it's all very smooth. You know what? I gotta give Tabata some credit. Listen, in a matter of one chapter, I think he has maybe pulled me back over to to like liking where he's going with this. Now, granted, I'm still not 100% sure on the whole, like, what was the point of building up the devils? Is it just to make the Zagratis, Lucius Zagratis seems so much more powerful, and it's like, oh, he's eating up devils. So if they're strong, then he must be really, really strong. But you know what? I'm kind of down with this, and the fact that Julius is like an alter or like an alternate personality, that it's like the two of them equally exist, and it's just a matter of who's in control of the body at any given time. I'm actually okay with that. I'm interested. Now, I forget if they mentioned. I think it was like Lucius had a weak body, right? That's the whole thing. So maybe it's the kind of thing right now where it's like, for whatever reason, you know, magic, whatever, Julius was able to walk around because he was not the weak one or whatever, but Lucius was, and now Lucius basically taken over his body. I think that's interesting, because then there's a scenario in which Julius could be fighting from the inside out, right? Now, when it comes to his goals here, Black Clover has been criticized. I don't know if criticized is the right word to use, but there's some stuff in Black Clover that's like, oh, very similar to other shonen manga or manga in general. You've got like the magic guilds aspect, or I guess they're the whatever they're called in Black Clover. I'm so bad at names and stuff. It's very similar to Fairy Tail. The Wizard King is very similar to a Hokage from Naruto and all of that kind of stuff. You know, there's the little bits, and like I think it all works in the context of Black Clover. But this is kind of straight. This feels a little bit like Naruto. I gotta give that. And I'm not saying it's going to be a bad thing. I'm just saying that it's kind of giving me that vibe of like when Madara wants to put everybody to sleep to make a perfect world, and then he basically rule over the world. This has that same kind of vibe, and I'm sure that other stories in general have come through this kind of storytelling. But that's the first thing that came into my mind. And again, I'm not against it. I think if it's done well, it can be done very well, and it'll just be cool. I gotta give credit. I gotta give him credit. I'm hype here because I thought this whole thing was really good. I liked both Asta and Lucius's back and forth, where it's like, oh, Lucius is monologuing his butt off and like being like, oh, hey, this is all gonna go down, and then he basically like calls Asta a twerp and says that he's like not meant to be around. And Asta's like, oh yeah, I understand. I get it. And then he classic Asta like shouting back and be like, wait a second, who are you insulting? So I like that. I think that's really cool. And then we get this really cool, this like awesome shot of Asta pulling out his swords and like being like that, I'm gonna end you right here, right now, as everybody kind of wakes up from the magic like time freezing that Lucius did and is like probably really, really confused. I think it's cool. I think this can be a really, really cool and interesting thing. The question here though is, are the other siblings gonna come back? Because he made it sound like they were all in on this big plan, and that maybe they're involved still, but they all like either died or something. I don't. They're all out of the picture. So I'm not 100% sure I want the other three to come back and be like, oh well, this is like they were all alive anyways, and it's like whatever. So if he's gonna have like more allies, like more bad guys for everybody to fight, I would prefer if they were newer in some capacity. But we shall see. We shall see. Yeah, I'm down with this chapter. This chapter was good. I thought this was. It had a very quiet feeling to it, where it's just mostly Lucius monologuing. We get some cool stuff, knowing that both Julius and Lucius both exist in the same body, and it wasn't just a. Julius was not just a construct that. I mean, who knows? Maybe, but like, I get the feeling it's more of like a natural occurrence, and it's like two equally important personalities in one body, rather than it being like, or rather than it being, oh, Lucius wanted to go undercover, so he made up a personality and just kind of whatever. Because that tells me that we'll see Julius, the character of Julius again at some point. Honestly, maybe at some point they'll split. Maybe Julius will get his own body or something like that, and I don't know. maybe him being a kid was kind of foreshadowing that he'll be reborn in his own body and not have to be with Lucius, I guess. I don't know. Yeah, I like this chapter a lot. I thought this is cool. This feels like a short review, considering that like I go into great depth for like my One Piece, and I don't go into great depth, but I talk for at length about One Piece. But I other than the fact that I just think it's I think this is going to be cool. I am super interested, and considering I've been kind of down, maybe not down, that's not the word I want to use, but like considering that I have my criticisms of Black Clover, and especially in the later parts of the Devil arc or whatever you want to call it. I think this could be really, really exciting and cool. Especially if they set up like a good alliance between all of the nations to take on Lucius Zogratis. I think this will be awesome. I also, you know what? I also like the fact that like in pure Asta fashion, everything you got Lucius monologuing this entire time, going off about making a perfect world and blah 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 blah, and Asta hears all this and he basically just boils it down to, you're a bad guy and I'm gonna beat you, and that's it. And that's very in his character, and sometimes you don't need anything more than that. Sometimes a simple reaction from the main character or from any character is the best way to do it. I think I'm gonna leave it there. I really liked this chapter. I thought it was well done. I'm excited. I highly doubt that we're gonna get like a full fight next chapter. But it'll be interesting to see what the other characters think of this development now that Lucius is just out in the open and there's no secret that he is now taken over Julius's body, or vice versa, the other way around. I don't know. Let me know what you guys thought about this chapter down below. I'd love to continue a conversation about this. Where do you think this is going to go? Where do you think Lucius will set up shop while we're waiting for the big fights to happen? Yeah, I'd love to have a conversation down below with you guys. Like and subscribe if you enjoyed anything I had to say, and if you want to see more of Black Clover reviews and videos in general. But yeah, I will see you guys hopefully very, very soon. See ya.